Hi, my name is Colette DeShay with The Self-Sustained Life, and my holistic approach to wellness is based upon health, wealth, wisdom, and relationships. I had an awesome opportunity to meet with Dr. Edward Group of Global Healing Centers and interview him in his state-of-the-art sustainable manufacturing facility. It was amazing. Dr. Edward Group is a world-renowned researcher and best-selling author who founded Global Healing Center in 1998 with the goal of providing the highest quality natural health information and products. Dr. Group centers his philosophy around understanding the root cause of disease, and his areas of study include nutritional biochemistry, quantum physics, human physiology and anatomy, cellular biology and biomechanics, neuroanatomy, parasitology, botany, herbology, and much more. So let's talk about the Oxy-Powder now. And Oxy-Powder is, I'll just say, is amazing. First of all, one of the main things that I always recommend people take is going to be magnesium. Minerals, period. Electrolytes, and I don't mean Gatorade. I mean real minerals. And we'll be talking about that. I've been talking about it in every one of my videos, and we're going to talk about it. But this is magnesium. Magnesium comes in a lot of forms. I've already talked about magnesium malate for building muscle. Bodybuilders, it's the best thing to build muscle. So there's different forms for different things. But we're going to talk about Oxy-Powder for cleansing, detoxifying, and how that scrubs. This is amazing. Yeah.
It actually is an amazing product, and I can't take full credit for it because Nikola Tesla, in the late 1800s, Nikola Tesla's understudy was a guy named Arthur Matthews. He came to Tesla when he was 16 years old and studied under Tesla. Arthur Matthews' understudy after Tesla passed away was a guy named George Freibot. George Freibot's understudy was a guy named, there was two people that got some of Tesla's research, George Freibot and Larry Royce, and I was kind of the understudy of both of those guys, and we got pieces of Tesla's original technology that was handed down because, believe it or not, Tesla was very into health. He actually he was very into vibrations and energy, as most people know, but most people know him for all of his energetic systems and his Tesla coil. And he was really involved in health, too, and he was a visionary. As a matter of fact, Arthur Matthews wrote a book about Tesla called The Wall of Light. And he says some pretty crazy things in there about his time that he spent with Tesla. But Tesla always had these visions of the future, and he's had this vision that of all this disease that was affecting the future populations. Mm-hmm. And in his vision, he saw that all this disease was starting in the gut, which we know today. Mm-hmm. That he was right. It is all starting in the gut. Right. Back then, he wanted to. His vision was to develop something that people could take that would clean and neutralize, because he saw the chemicals and toxins and all this stuff that was destroying the gut. And so his vision was to create something that would neutralize all that before it got into the bloodstream, or to keep the gut clean and healthy. Right. And he met with a guy named Dr. Eugene Bloss in 1898 in a hotel room to develop this formula, or to share his ideas. And they developed this formula that would bond singlet oxygen or reactive oxygen species to a magnesium compound. Now, magnesium deficiency is another thing that's rampant, and I'm a big believer in magnesium. There's so many different types of magnesium out there, right? And but magnesium is a very unique mineral that so many different forms can be bonded and messed with because of its outside shell. So you can have magnesium orotate, magnesium malate, magnesium aspartate, magnesium arginate, glycinate. You can even have magnesium chloride now, which is the oil, which is very effective. What he was using was a magnesium oxide. And with a magnesium oxide, which you're not going to really get any absorption. Magnesium oxide is not to be used as a magnesium mineral that you would take for a magnesium deficiency. You would use one of the other potent magnesiums, or depending if you wanted it to go into the cell, to the inner layer of the cell membrane, to the outer layer of the cell membrane, to the muscle, all of those different factors. So he was looking at it from the bonding structure of how he could bond a reactive oxygen species to it. And he figured out how to do it with Eugene Bloss, and they developed a product that was similar to this and was sold up until the 1940s. I ended up getting pieces of the original formula because I thought it was fascinating that when I started studying gut health and the root cause of disease and how all these chemicals and toxins are the root cause of disease and they're entering into the intestinal lining, and how the intestines needed to be cleaned because most people's food was sitting there for 72 hours and the proteins were turning putrefactic, the fats were turning rancid in the system, the carbohydrates were fermenting inside your body. And I realized then, well, Tesla was right. Like, you need to get that stuff out. Like, you need to be cleaning your bowel on a regular basis. And the reason he didn't use herbs is because herbs, there's no herb that's actually going to oxidize and reduce or produce lots of negative ions that can neutralize all these chemicals and toxins. Lemon juice and lemon water actually works really well with that. But it doesn't really work itself down that far into the system because it will neutralize, and that's why lemon water is so powerful, because it has so many negative electrons in it. But it's going to absorb into your bloodstream pretty rapidly, and then it works in the blood. But what we needed was something that would be a slow release that would go for 72 hours even, all the way through and release massive amounts of these tiny little oxygen bubbles that would chew and eat up all this compaction. Herbs won't do that because, like, psyllium is a bulk fiber agent. It's just going to scrape, right? Cascara sagrada, senna, those are osmotic laxative. They're just going to draw water, and none of that's going to neutralize any of the chemicals. It's not going to neutralize and kill the positively charged bad bacteria, any of that stuff. The only way you're going to be able to do that is with a negative ion type system. So he was a genius to develop that. It actually took me 7 years working out of a shipping container, a 40-foot shipping container, working with high levels of ozone and pressure and low temperatures and all kinds of other stuff to finally be able to come up with a product that has a sustained release, which actually I think is even better than his original formula, because we have better equipment now and better labs and stuff to measure it.
Right.
And we measure this and test it at Sam Houston State University, which they have the ability to test for oxygen release. And at 72 hours, some of the tests showed that it was even releasing more oxygen at 72 hours. And we've tested all the other oxygen-based supplements because a lot of people have tried to copy us, and they just think that, we're just putting magnesium oxide into the product, but actually magnesium oxide will not really, it releases a tiny amount of oxygen, which is O2, but oxygen is a stable compound.
Right.
It's not going to, it's already stable, it doesn't have any free electrons, so it's not going to neutralize anything. You might get a little bit of a benefit from it, but
O3?
This is a combination of oxygen singlets. Okay. So O3, you might have some O3s being released, but it might only be for a nanosecond or so. So it's more of a slow release of O1, which O3 anyway is going to release into 3 oxygen singlets almost instantaneously when it hits air. It won't really stay ozone for too long. But that's another reason why ozone is so effective at healing. And it's, just injecting ozone gas. It has to be the right kind, by the way, but a proper practitioner that knows how to do ozone therapy. I'm a big fan of ozone therapy. You can take the blood out, ozonate it, put it back in, and that's the basic concept of what he was trying to do with this formula. So you can take Oxy-Powder I don't really like to take any supplement, for that matter, every single day, because I believe your body needs a little bit of a rest, even iodine, every other day or whatever, Oxy-Powder every other day.
That's good.
But we've had people that have used Oxy-Powder literally every single day for 20 years. When we did trials on this years and years and years ago, They couldn't even find a toxicity level. It was the equivalent of, they stopped the testing after the equivalent of you taking 3 bottles in one day.
Wow.
And there was still no toxicity. And we even had a practitioner a few years ago that was prescribing a bottle. He was doing this massive detox on patients, and he would have them take a whole bottle in one day. He would have them take like 10 capsules every hour for a whole day, and it would just blow everything out. So it's really a miracle. It's really a miracle product that, and even the stars in Hollywood, it really caught on over there because you could lose a dress. Most people lose 10 to 15 pounds. They lose 10 to 15 pounds in a week because of waste matter that's compacted in their system.
Right.
And the stars for the big events like the Oscars and everything, they would have to have their Oxy-Powder because they would take like 10 capsules the night before so they could fit into their dress.
Guilty.
They would drop 2 dress sizes overnight. 2 dress sizes overnight.
Yeah, but I'm more consistent.
But I mean, I'm just saying, look. How many of us go out to dinner? We eat. We're with family. We're with friends. Whatever. We eat too much. A lot of people use Oxy-Powder not only to keep themselves clean, but to get rid of those big family meals or those big get-togethers, or when they go out to a restaurant and they overeat, they don't want that food sitting in their system. Right. So they just use it because they know at night they can take it, go to sleep, and in the morning, boom, that whole meal is going to be out of their system. Yeah, I mean, just in one point on that, whenever you turn a solid matter into a liquid or a gas, you might have what might seem to be diarrhea, but it's actually not diarrhea. I mean, we get that question all the time. It's like, I took this and I just had diarrhea for 2 days. It's not, because when you take a solid matter and you melt it, right, it becomes a liquid. And there's x-rays out there of, you can pull them up online, of people that stopped chewing gum 20 years ago, and they go in for an x-ray of their abdomen, and there's a piece of gum that the doctor shows them that's stuck up in their intestine, a pocket inside of their intestinal area somewhere, and they go, oh my gosh, I stopped chewing gum 20 years ago. The thing is, all of this stuff builds up in your system, and you can get these little outpocketings in your digestive system, which is 30 feet in length in the surface area of a tennis court. The only thing that's going to work its way up into these little areas and to get bubble out all that stuff is going to be oxygen, and you can feel it working throughout the system. We are living in an age where most people are constipated and don't even know it. Most people say, I have a 1 bowel movement a day. I said, all right, stop drinking coffee and tell me how many bowel movements you have. So they go 2 or 3 days. But the medical profession now says that you're not constipated if you're having 1 to 3 bowel movements a week.
It's crazy.
Look at the animals out there. How many bowel movements do animals have? I mean, in nature, they have 1, 2, 3 bowel movements a day. Right. But another great thing with this is it's safe to use for mothers. How many mothers that are pregnant are suffering with constipation?
Constipation is a big issue.
Babies are constipated too. As a matter of fact, we've had tests done with pregnant mothers that are breastfeeding, and it actually comes out through the breast milk, and it helps the babies go to the bathroom. So it's completely safe to use for children. You can empty the capsule and mash it in a banana and give to kids that are constipated. Look, your life is, we have kids, we know it. Your life is miserable if your kid is constipated. They're crying, they're screaming, they can't go to the bathroom. Right. Another great thing with Oxy-Powder, when you get extra oxygen in your system, how good and how much energy do you feel in the mornings on the night where you take Oxy-Powder? Right. I've been doing testing on this for 20 years. The nights I don't take Oxy-Powder versus the nights I do take Oxy-Powder, and I can feel a huge difference in my energy in the morning on the nights that I take Oxy-Powder. In a natural, safe, there's nothing better for you than oxygen. I mean, it's totally safe, gentle, easy to use.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. Thank you for that. Thank you for both of these products. So get that right away. Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow me on social media. Like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. And stay tuned for more content on The Self-Sustained Life.